All right, so welcome to meeting number two, the Documentation Exploratory Working Group of the XF meeting. And we are going to get started. We don't have co-chairs. We have some nominations, but no official co-chairs as of today. So I'm going to be running the meeting, but I think there's going to be some news on that soon. So in Zoom, please name yourself, your company, your name. This is for attendance tracking and for making sure that members are in good standing so that when we do take votes, like for our nominations, there's some history to people's attendance. This meeting is being recorded. If you do not wish to be recorded, you must drop out. All forum meetings and online communication shall be conducted in compliance with all applicable laws, including antitrust and competition laws. Do not discuss interpretation, validity, or essentially of patents or patent claims. Do not discuss specific license rates, terms, or conditions. Do not discuss or engage in the fixing of product prices, allocation of customers, or division of markets. Do not discuss the status or substance of ongoing or threatened litigation. All interactions in these meetings should follow the XF Code of Conduct. Please keep all discussions professional, friendly, and civil. Unsolicited promotions, advertisements, or spam are not permitted. Don't be silent if you see any of the above being violated. Raise your concerns to the meeting chair immediately or on email. And we have email and an anonymous report. And I'm going to share this with the group, this slide deck. So you guys can follow along and use it for reference later. This stuff is all in a public directory, which we'll see in a minute. So the agenda for today, review the minutes from the last meeting, nominations for co-chair positions, how to handle broken links, stock take of the documentation and where information should be presented, and then finally the next meeting. And our goal is to get this done in an hour. So if we get close to the end, we'll just skip to the next meeting details. So first, typically we would record the meetings and be able to approve them. I've left this slide in just so we have a placeholder for it for next time. Since we didn't do that, we can't really approve them. And so I'm going to move on. So nominations for co-chair positions. So any member may nominate themselves, a single individual from their organization, or any election in which they have nomination privileges during a designated nomination period, which shall be no less than 2 weeks, by sending a notice to this co-chair email list. And you guys have a link to this. I've set up uh, a link to this Google group, and you'll have to ask for permission, and then we can let you into the group, and that way you can submit a nomination. Anyone can do that. Like I said, you can nominate yourself. If a member wishes to nominate for more than one role in a co-chair, a series of separate ballots shall be held for each of those roles, with the results of each ballot known before initiating the next. So the details of that are in this new document here called the cohort process policy, which you can review, and that has all of the intricacies of how we do this to make it fair. And so if somebody comes in later and says, "Well, how did you guys decide that?" We have a real policy and process, and these meetings are recorded, so we have a good track record and evidence of how we got to where we are. So, um, and I do believe we have one nomination, and we'll make that more official by adding them to the list. But if anyone's listening to this after this recording and feels like they would like to be a co-chair, we can support up to 3 co-chairs per working group. So there's room for more people if they're interested. Okay, so our first, we have, like I said, we have this agenda, so we can kind of keep these things separate. First thing to talk about here is the broken links and what to do with them. And there's a tool for checking links that was provided by Jacob. And would someone like to take over from here?
Yeah, I can take over a little bit. Yeah, I think thanks for doing that, Greg. I think it's important to get us off on the right footings for this procedure. You know, like we've probably seen recently, the after the fact things are kind of come up sometimes. So we just want to make sure we're all above board and follow some guidelines. So yeah, that's great. Um, um, I guess we should kick off with obviously thanking Jacob for that tool he kind of worked on. I haven't had a real chance to kind of documentate any of the links just yet, but I have tested out the tool and it does work really well. It kind of ticks and crosses the links that are working and not working. Um, I guess throwing it out into the open really. Once we've kind of done this stock take, and which won't take very long, I don't think. Once now we've got this tool to make life a bit easier. Um, what do we kind of do with these broken links? Because obviously we don't control any of that. I guess that's an open question to the floor, really. Yeah.
If I may, Tim.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think the tool that Jacob suggested is really efficient at finding links that go nowhere. So yeah, I think it would be nice if we contact those people behind these sites that we at least know of, right? We've had John Michael Hans, I think, at work XCHD Central, so we can contact him for the dead links regarding that site. And so forth. But then that is just for the dead links. And then, of course, we also have a lot of content that is still on the website, Shia Links, that is out of date. And I think that will take a bit longer. Actually, I think it will take a lot longer to determine what is still relevant. But I think we're off with a really good start, really efficient way to start. So I'm really grateful for the work that Jacob did in providing that tool.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah, I think that's probably the obvious answer, isn't it? Just to reach out to these people and just let them know. And I guess that kind of leads on to the next question about sort of kind of out of date information as well. Is that kind of relevant, or is that appropriate to be kind of reaching out to these same people and saying, well, this link is down and this one's out of date? Because, out of date information maybe not a massive problem, certainly not for the creator of it. And so I guess there's a question to be said there. A suggestion, I suppose we could suggest that these are out of date. Um, but yeah, we don't want to tread on anyone's toes as such.
Don't think people will take offense if we point out that some of the data or some of the information is out of date. They probably know. What may be nice for new joiners in our ecosystem is that we sort of give them a little heads up. Hey, this information you're looking at is out of date or has been up to date up until this and that moment. So I'm not sure if we manage to reach out to all of the content owners, but it would be very nice if they would be open to adding a little warning to each and every site that is out of date. It can be a small warning box or uh, you know something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm sure that can happen. But obviously we need to get this stock take done kind of first, don't we? And I just haven't had the time to get at it yet, but I should have an hour or so tomorrow to make a start on that. And I guess to Grig as well, all this information that we're going to gather, do we want to have that in some sort of central place that everybody can see? Is there rather than just a Google Doc that I've knocked up last week, is there some sort of central place we can start adding this sort of information to?
Um, I wonder if it would make sense to have something like a GitHub project or something like that where you can have a list of tasks that need to be done, like for improving various documentation sites or pages in the ecosystem, and then people could like take one of those small tests and work on it and mark it off like a kind of like a global Kanban board for everyone.
I agree that because GitHub, like even if we have some guides or anything, we can push as a separate website. Not only just a Kanban board as a project, if you want to keep track of it, but if you want to publish some information, we can just publish as like GitHub pages. The GitHub
So Barry,
is
your
like-
microphone is a little low.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, this is much better.
Is it still an issue? Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
Okay. No, I was saying, yeah, GitHub is a good option if you want to track any items from the community. At the same time, if you wanted to publish something as a GitHub pages also, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yep.
So that way it's open for everyone. People can see it and people can contribute it. And still that admin can have a control of what it is being merged. And yeah, that's a good place to maintain and track items.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like a great idea. And then people can kind of grab tasks from it. So, yeah, do we have an XCH a foundation GitHub set up yet, Greg?
I'm not sure if we do actually. I can definitely do that under the official accounts, and we can set up give access to our WordPress based website so people can maintain a landing page there. It might make some sense to have at least some mention on our site about the documentation and where it's happening. We don't have to repeat any information, but just point to what we're working on, I guess, at the GitHub project. And, we could do something a little more involved as we move along when we've identified what we really need.
Gotcha. Yeah, Brando's just dropped an XCH Foundation GitHub.
Oh, cool.
So the one does exist. I would imagine that's probably something Clyde set up.
Yeah, I think it was the old foundation, but I believe it was transferred to Greg.
Fantastic.
Maybe on this topic, in the same spirit, I set up for the Space Farmers Wiki. What I used to do is set up like a Kanban style Trello board where people can pick up tasks in sort of the same way. I think it will work exactly the same as the GitHub. The only thing is that it's a little bit more accessible, I guess, for people that have no experience with GitHub. But maybe we can help those people out also working on the GitHub. So it's just an alternative,
Yeah. So
I guess.
Yeah, to add on that, like in GitHub, you can have the Kanban style if you want. So
Nice.
I do heavily manage all my thing for SpaceCan. We use a GitHub only. So we can put a different styles, Kanban style or like a Trello kind of style. We can set it up. If anybody needs that, I can help on that. How to set up projects in GitHub.
Nice.
So because I'm aware of a Kanban board in GitHub, but you're saying something else might be a little easier.
Yes, yeah.
Oh,
If you
okay.
want, I can quickly show it maybe at the end how we use it. So that similar template we can set it up, so people can view it, and people can easily contribute it. Yeah, maybe at the end I'll show you how we use GitHub for all the project tracking, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the benefit of using the Kanban board on GitHub is that it's assigned, or you can assign it to the issues. So you get this really nice one-to-one tracking of what needs to be done and if it was completed. But I'm not sure if that was the free account or we have to have a team
No, it's free.
account.
Yeah, it's if you set it as a company or something. 1 second. As an organization, I think Exit Foundation is set it up as an organization. And inside that, we can create projects, and it is available for free, and there is no limit. And we can maintain Kanban board as well as a project view. Yeah. Let
Okay,
me
well,
see.
if you can, submit that to the group so we can check it out, preferably
No.
before the next meeting.
Okay, maybe at the end I can show it because that's my private projects, what I manage it. I can show it how it is managed. And if you want to set it up, if you can give a permission, I'll set it up in the XH Foundation.
Sure. Do you want to try sharing it now, or is that something you
want
can do?
Yeah, I can share it now. Let me share my screen.
Is that okay, guys?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd love
yeah.
to see.
Yeah. So
I
So,
think
like,
we'll need to change the permissions for sharing.
how is it? You're not. It's not visible?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
I see.
Okay.
Okay. So like different things we'll manage it. So if you want like a lot of items to be tracked, we can use this view, right? And then we can assign it and we can see different status and how it is. This view is like if you have more people who knows the process and we want to track it based on the resources, we can use this. Or if you want like Kanban style, we can use this Kanban style, like with to-dos in progress and done, we can move these items. And it is much easier if you have less items to manage it. So all this you can set it up in the project structure. And here we can create it and we can provide permissions, who manages, who acts, or who changes the status. Everything we can manage it. So if you want, let me know. I'll set it up this for the XH Foundation.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, I've just
Nice.
seen Vsblan has dropped the Trello link as well. That looks like another good option as well. So
Yeah, but we did try Trello initially. It's good. We can share it to a lot of people and use it. But then managing multiple places is what we had a little difficulty. Then we put everything into GitHub because at the time GitHub didn't have these tools. But now GitHub itself has all these tools, which is equivalent to Trello. And that's why we moved from Trello to GitHub. And we kept everything in one place so we can manage it instead of multiple tools. Yeah.
gotcha.
It's nice that you have experience with both, Sabari. Like I just had the Trello, and I also don't think we had enough contributors, so it got clogged quite easily.
Yeah.
But on GitHub, if everything works on GitHub, I think that can be nice. The only little downside I see is that it's a little barrier, like very small barrier maybe, that we should then be aware of and help people cross in case they're not just super familiar with GitHub.
No, true. And I see most like GitHub is becoming a hub for all these open items. We can keep the documentations, we can publish it, and we can maintain repos. And all collaborations happens here. So GitHub is moving to that direction. I would say like we'll keep everything here instead of multiple tools because people needs to have access to Trello. They have to create a thing and somebody needs to manage that. And then we need to manage the GitHub. So that's why we clubbed everything into one place. And
So I guess the next step will be setting up the GitHub projects and maybe inviting key players in order to start maintaining it.
Yep, sounds like a reasonable starting place to me.
Okay, cool.
I think
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Clyde said he has transferred everything across to us, so it's probably in the password.
Yeah, I'll take a look after the meeting. So anything else regarding where we're putting the information? Okay. So next on the agenda here is taking stock take of the documentation.
Yeah, so okay, that's kind of what we were getting at there, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think a coordinated sort of central place that people can jump in, and I don't know how far you can break that down into kind of looking at cheer links or looking at a certain other site, or I don't know how much that can be broken down into, because you kind of want to have have it broken down into like smaller bite-sized chunks that somebody can take on. Like, Chia Links is quite a big one. But if you can get multiple people on there to do multiple different things, then I think that's a good thing. But yeah, I think the starting point would be to break it down into maybe sites that do have this kind of information on it. So I guess that would be a good starting point.
Yeah, sorry. What are we trying to accomplish here? What is needed here?
Kind of
thi- I-
quiet there, Sabiri.
Yeah, I think what we're trying to achieve is because I don't think obviously last week's wasn't recorded, but ultimately the goal is to scan the ecosystem for all kind of links or documentation information, and then have a big stock take of what's working, what's not working, what's out of date. As a starting point, and then the knock-on effect of that is how do we then present that information and keep that up to date, for new people coming in and for the sort of general community. That's the kind of the overarching idea.
So is it the Chia Links is a place where we keep all, right? So are we looking for some new place where we manage even the data from the Chia Links and others? Or is it going to be a website or a web repository? Where do we maintain it, or what we maintain?
Well, that's kind of it, isn't it? I think it's like, how much do we as the XCH Foundation want to be involved with updating or keeping an eye on that information, and how do we do that? Is a different topic, or a different. It's the same subject, but it's like something we need to talk about. That is.
Yeah, so I see like in our ecosystem currently 2 people who actively collects and keeps track of his like slowest time node, and Stefan, right? Steve. He maintains the weekly, and the XH network is maintained slow. So they do this kind of like, they dedicate a lot of time in doing that, and they have resources already available. Are we going to get those details flow into a new place, and we keep track of it? Yeah.
That's the big question. That's the big question.
Oh, okay. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I think at this stage it's kind of a fact-finding mission, just to see what is out there. Because what's the slowest time lords kind of set of websites? His information's very good as well.
Okay, so it seems like something we need to have auto crawl different resources and then rebuild into a more updated, detailed structure, right? So it's not going to be a human effort, or like at least not full time somebody sitting and going through it, years of material or sections and gathering it.
I think what we said last time, right? We to get the wheels spinning, is that we sort of put a box around Chia Links as a good starting point.
Okay.
Because it is really a good effort already, right? It has a lot of links to lots of places. So we said like, okay, what are the dead links? Where can we start? Where can we check out what information is outdated? And once we get that site up and running, up to date, then we have a good starting point. We have a good point of reference, and then we can start building out. I think that's what we sort of agreed upon the other time.
Yeah, sorry, I missed that last call.
Yeah, that's why I quickly reiterate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, Sabari, so Chia Inc. currently, do they currently run Chia Links? But I don't think
I can touch on that for you.
Sorry.
Yeah, so sure everybody knows, but Slowest Time Lord is the one who originally started Chia Link numerous years ago. Great resource for the community, became a landing place for pretty much all of the links and the content that you could get. Slowest Time Lord had some things rise and was migrating over to his XDH.network stuff, so he wasn't able to directly host Chia Links anymore. But instead of it being fully dissolved, CNI stepped in and said, hey, okay, hey, we will host it for you, but we still need you to do minimal management and updates on it. So John has really been doing the vast majority of the legwork still, but CNI is covering the hosting for it. Now, that's something I have talked with the CNI team internally, and if the XCH Foundation wants to take over Chia Links entirely, so hosting and everything else, they're more than welcome to. We can work with you guys to get that all taken care of. But we're also willing to help cover those costs and keep it under our repo so we can do all of the security side of things. If you guys want to manage content and update it as well in the meantime, definitely willing to work with you guys to make that happen and bring it back to a great state here.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you. Right. So if that's the case, then that should be part of this XCH Foundation organization, right? So we will have this report here, so it will be open and anybody can contribute it and somebody just reviews and merges it. So that way we can just open it up for the community to contribute for the Chia Links, right? Or manage the Chia Links. And
You got it.
And they can just approve the PR and then it'll automatically merge it and we'll have the pipeline built. So it'll be, once it merges, then it will deploy it. I don't know how that current infrastructure it is for Chia Links, but
yeah, currently it's on the CNI GitHub. So feel free to do any PRs to that. I'll personally review those and make sure that they're adopted. But if ever XF wants to take it over entirely, we can work with CNI to make that happen as well.
Yeah, because that Chia Links are already there. Like we don't need to start anything new, right? It's mostly things are there, but it is not maintained or it needs to be moved to XCH Foundations because that more fits for XCH Foundations to manage it. Then I think better to move the Chia Links report to XCH Foundation and then let Foundation manage it. And instead of getting that information from Chia Links and trying to create a new place, we already have a place specifically for that. And name is also like Chia Links is good and already Sina owns it. Then we move that here and then manage it, like then update that information. That will be much easier and doable practical thing than creating a new space, new brand to manage that and move everything from Chia Links to here. Why do we need to get into that trouble? We already have that. And it is movable from Chia into the XCH Foundation. If that happens, that's a good place to start instead of starting from scratch, right?
Oh, perfect. And I think also what we touched upon the last meeting is that because John had such a great influence in creating that website, that we may shoot him a little message and see if he's willing to help us a little bit. Have you been in contact with him regarding that, Tim?
No, I haven't. No, but I will do that right now actually, and see what involvement he'd like to take part in. But yeah, I'll do that now.
Perfect.
To who? With who? Like, is it with Slowest Time Lord or
Yeah.
Stefan?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
John. Yeah, Slowest Time Lord. Yeah.
John, yeah. No, I think that is really works for that community also, because now they push it, whatever it goes into the weekly Chia, it cross-posted into XCH network. And then I think Stefan will be much happier to push this into Chia Links. So if we have like the weekly update section in Chia Links, and if he pushes it or if he back links to that, then he would do it. He will submit a PR every time when this weekly goes in, right? Because then more places it will be there. That information, it will be in XCH network, and this Chia weekly, some site what Steve maintains it, and then it will be in the Chia Links also, right? And I think they will be agreeing to that. Maybe once you check with them, check with Slowest Time Lord as well as Steve, who manages this weekly check. What is it? Because he actively works on it. Like every week he collects everything, whatever happens, and we couldn't find anybody who's more focused or dedicated to get that update into it, right? So if we can reach out to him and he agrees to cross post that into Chia links as a PR every week, then that will be very good place.
Yeah, I think we should also, we don't want to deplatform him from his own platform, of course. And I think what will be nice in the future is that if we can, get some people here in this working group that can actually at some point take off some work, out of the hands of these, avid contributors. At least, it is my personal goal to get some work done and see if we can, help out, Rigidity or Yak or, all of these great content creators, these great minds. Ideally we get some people together that can, can sort of support their great efforts. At least my personal goal. Yeah.
So one thing I'm curious about is if we wanted to add additional content instead of just linking to the content that exists, what are we doing in that case? For example, if we wanted to create a video series for future developers, where would that go?
It will be in Chia links, right? So Chia links can be enhanced. Not only what we already have it, but all this education content and everything we can start putting into Chia links.
The microphone is again a little bit soft, right?
Okay. I need to buy, I think, new microphone. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is like if Chia links is moves to the foundation, then we'll have a section added in Chia links, all this educational content and everything, because it will be in our control, right? So whenever new education content, a new series, we need to add it, we can add it there. So we will have like a constant or long living content, like what is Chia, what are the main things for any beginners to start, and then any persona based, like okay, some developer who wants to work on full node or a Chia Lisp, then we'll have a series for that, and that will cover. And then a short-lived updates, like what is happening in this ecosystem, like what is this week in Chia, what it does. So all this should be in the Chia links, not just a static thing what we have currently. We can enhance that Chia links to be like that, right? And then all these tutorials, video series, what we wanted to create, it can go into that section and we can rearrange that homepage to reflect that, right? So it'll be like
Yes.
anybody who wants to know Chia, they can start on it. Or if we have like Xage Foundation, from there we can link it to a dedicated section. So from Xage Foundation, if you have, okay, if you are a beginner who wants to start on Chia, let's go there. Like in Chia links, then we can link to the series, and then they can spend time in Chia links and go through that series and understand it. Or if somebody
Yeah.
wants to update of what's happening, they want to keep eye on what's happening, then if Steve agrees to cross post everything from this week in Chia to some section in Chia links, and we agree on some formats and something, then they can redirect to there. So anybody wants to know what is happening in Chia, they can go to Chia links events or some updates on it every week, or as soon as it happens, we can update it.
Yeah. So basically, if I get that right, Sabari, you say there's basically two tastes to this, right? The first taste is that we host everything on Chia links. And the second taste is that we host it on dedicated websites, but then we keep Chia links in the lean form that it is currently. And then we link towards that content. Is that right? Do I get that right?
I would say like maintain one Chia links is good enough. Even that is itself is going to be a lot of work, right? So because all the series, I think it will be put into YouTube as a series, and then in Chia links we'll have a page or section, and that explains all the series and the details. Because Chia links is already having it, probably the UI needs to be worked out. We can spend time on redesign the Chia links a little bit to on the model look, and I see Chia links is good enough, one place to start everything on it. And in future, if you have more hands, more people ready to work, and then Chia links become so much content, then at the time we can think of branching into separate one. But I think adapting Chia links and making it to this new design and the new focus from the foundation is a good place to start, and it's a practical to start instead of starting everything from it. That's my opinion. Yeah.
But yeah, the only little issue I see then is that, of course, it's a little bit in the name, right? So Chia Links is basically the place that links to different places for information.
Mm.
Um,
True.
yeah,
Yeah, true. But yeah, but the brand is already there. Most of our folks know from the beginning. Everybody knows it. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like it's just a link, but if you want, we can extend it.
yeah,
Hey guys.
got it.
Hey, John. I was just gonna announce John's slowest Time Lord's in the room.
Hey, how are
Hey.
you?
Wow,
And then
we're honored.
My ears were burning, so I decided to join.
Yeah, I guess kind of I think it's on the screen there. What we talked about, we've this is kind of the second meeting, John, where we've been talking about documentation in the ecosystem, and obviously Cheerlinks is quite a good place for us to start and kind of review what's good. So our current sort of plan, like a big overview, really is to kind of go through Cheerlinks and find out what links are working, what links aren't working, what's outdated, that type of thing. And I think we're now currently talking about sort of the bigger picture type stuff of the documentation as a whole. Do we kind of use Cheerlinks as this sort of starting point? But yeah, the guys here are that's the topic of conversation right now. But I think from your point of view, Clyde's mentioned that CNI have kind of taken over the hosting of that, and you're concentrating on your sort of series of XCH websites, which are really fantastic as well. So yeah, the overall bigger picture is we're trying to take a stock of what's happening, who's doing what, and see what's out of date and what's in date type thing. But I'd be interested in your kind of thoughts and overview of Cheerlinks, how it is now, etc.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, CNI owns the IP for Cheerlinks. And when we say they host it, really it's GitHub pages. So it's really just hosted on GitHub. It's pretty straightforward. It's a completely static site built in Jekyll, which is frankly probably its limiting factor in how useful it can be. So for example, you can't search, right? There's no search functionality. But it was built to be very easy to maintain. So I'm still making updates to it, maybe about once a month, just like adding new things. I have a script to like scan for broken links, but sometimes I haven't run that in a while. The links themselves, if we want to just talk about like the overall structure of the source code, it's all stored in a few YAML files. So if someone wanted to like write like a script to go through and hit each one, it's pretty straightforward. I'd say it's pretty straightforward to add links, remove links as well. But it was originally built to be comprehensive, not necessarily to be useful, if that makes sense. I think right now a lot of the categorization doesn't make the most sense. It's probably highlighting stuff that isn't as relevant as it used to be. I am an approver on the Cheerlinks repo, along with Chris Marslander is the other person. So if you guys want to submit PRs to make updates, I'm happy to approve them. The site, I would say, probably needs like an overhaul to make it truly useful, which is kind of why I pivoted to build XCH.network as more of like a onboarding resource. But it's obviously not as comprehensive. It's a bit more focused to what I feel like people new to Chia are looking for. But if you're a developer and you're looking for like different plugins and different packages, then Cheerlinks would have way more information than the average person would need.
Yeah,
Nice.
appreciate that. Go on.
No, I was just wondering, very nice, of course, that you're joining us. Yeah, so we've talked about how do how do we make sure then that all the content that is there is up to date? And well, you have of course maybe the best grasp of the whole site. Maybe could you give us a little bit of insight what sort of issues you ran into maintaining it up to this point, and how you would see maintenance of the website going forward?
Yeah, I think a bunch of sections on the site probably warrants.
Oh, you're muted, John.
You can add.
Oh,
Hello.
have we muted
he's
John,
right
or
back,
is he
yeah.
just
He's
muted
So
himself?
he just
He's
wrote
going
in
to
the
come
chat,
back.
be right back.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I think he had something come up. He had to jump off for a second.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, but that's useful that John's here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have one thing to add. Like here, this content it is only in English, right? So is there any plan for multi-language supports or at least major language supports for the contents on these documentations?
Sorry,
like
say that
overall
again. Sorry,
landscape.
I've zoned out then.
So most of these contents are in English, right? So is there any plan to cover multi-language, multilingual support, at least major languages for these documentations? Like for example, like Chia Links or any major sites, right? It's always in English. So it's pretty much like non-reachable for most of the folks. So I was thinking, is there any plan or anything in the future also to support like other major languages like Chinese and Korean,
I think
something like that?
with a static site that might be difficult, but if we were to use something like React, there's a plugin that you can pretty easily
Mhm.
add like support for I-18, and I think it's called.
Yeah. So I do support. So most of my sites are in React, and I have multilingual support.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I was thinking. If if we are planning for any redesign, when we do a redesign, and in GitHub pages we can do a React and it'll build it, and we can add this I-18 support, and so that way we can broaden the users, like we can cover most folks. So for example, like if anybody from Chinese mainland, they wanted to see the content in, then we can open up for them for the PR and we can review it and they can merge it into that I-18 support, right?
Yeah, we
And
could use Crowdin, yeah.
Yeah, and for the static side of things, you could do something like Crowdin, where you have a bunch of crowdsourced
Yeah,
translations.
and in
and
the
then there
future,
are
I'd
others.
like to be able to use the project knowledge files, basically what's available on the compiled data, and use it for an AI conversation bot where you could just ask questions.
Yeah, that
So
would be so good.
I actually started creating one, but I just put it on hold for now. That is xch.ai. I thought of doing it, but it's we need to train the LLM for that specific knowledge, but it is too much work now.
Yeah.
But if that comes in, then we don't need all of this, right? The people are moved away from web, from what my experience right now. I don't go and look for websites, and I just ask ChatGPT or DeepSeek or even my own cursor chat. I'll ask it, they'll answer it, and I'll work with it. But the SEO side and bringing more eyeballs, it's still on these websites and maintaining all these resources. And all. Yeah, but coming back to the language side, the translation side, I do use all the language translation. I use AI only, so we don't use it. I think when Chia started, they used this Crowdin platform to language translate the tokens. But here, if you're looking into more of a documentations or the more detailed thing, and if it is in a GitHub, we can just depend on the PR for the folks to correct it, or we can use AI to auto translate most of the things, and then people can correct it. That's what I felt, and even I did for some of a SpaceCan side, because pretty much we have a lot of things. So I just let the AI to translate for 4 or 5 languages, and then I reached out to that folks from that country, asked them, okay, can you review this? and they'll review all these things and they'll manually say, okay, this is not correct. And so that was a quite easy and fast way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to lean too heavily on LLMs, but in this case where we're um, asking about stuff that's actual natural language, like a database of stored facts, it could be really useful for a developer coming in who just needs to get pointed in the right direction and wants to trust the information. And the LLMs, they do search now, but it would be nice to have a point of truth that it could use and have a maybe even point to a verified link of that
Mm.
information.
Yeah. So, but if you ask me, it's little deviations, but I train models, like I fine tune models. So I see in future nobody's going to come to websites. Even in my org now, nobody's uses it, websites or the documentations. They just ask models like LLMs. Like we have our internal models. Nobody goes to that docs anymore. Everybody asks, and then they'll just depend on it, and even they automate a lot of things. So that I don't see it's a future in next few months. Developers are already started using it. If you're focusing all this doc for developers, they're not going to go through these documents. They're just going to ask that model to do it, and model is going to write GLS or even a program or creating a node. It is going to write everything. But now the model needs to learn that from somewhere. That's where we need all these sites to go through it and a lot of samples to train on that. And developers are not going to sit on trading documentations until if the LLM is not able to fix any issue, then only they will do this. Otherwise, they're going to ask models to.
So you're saying we need to do the hard work, huh? Damn it.
No,
Well,
no. If you
I would
ask me,
agree. I would agree.
no. So now we are working on a website like two websites. It's 100% written by AI, even completely the front end, back end, and now even the design also. I had one designer, now even that designer doesn't have a job anymore because it's completely designed by AI. And in my day job, I train models, right, for enterprises. So I know how quickly that is evolving. Nobody's going to use our program anymore. And
I think that's great to have that on board then, Sabari, because sort of the end goal where we're going towards. If you keep that in mind and see if the content we create, the old school way, or, the primitive way, whatever, you can see if that's actually useful down the line. So I think that's great that you bring that on board.
actually, what here is important because this is the seed of it. It doesn't know what STL is. It doesn't know how to create it, how to run it. We need to have these documents, and then they will crawl it and they learn it, and then they can enhance on top of it, right? But they need enough samples, enough tutorials to do that. And this what they're doing here is
we're at work. Yeah, sounds good. John, have you returned?
So, guys, we have about 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
I do think there's this one open-ended question here, which is, do we extend the site with React to make it more useful? I don't know if we'll solve that today, but anyone have any overarching points they want to make?
Yeah, I was listening to a bit about what Sabari was talking about, and I definitely agree. I think one of the primary motivations of creating Chia links in the first place was to get written content that's indexable by search engines and AI out there. So if we want to think about what the primary purpose or what problem is we're trying to solve, if it's really just getting indexable content, I don't think the React front end is necessarily going to help with that. Translations would. So for a lot of my sites, I have AI plugins to make sure that the translations themselves are permalinked so that the search engines can crawl them. But if we're actually looking to make like a developer resource, for example, or like an introductory resource, then I think that's where the React front end could bring a lot of value. Something else I want to share with this group are the Google Analytics for Chia links, like which pages are actually the most popular. I'll probably drop some screenshots in the XAH Foundation chat afterwards. That might help guide the direction of where we want to take it.
Fab. Thanks, John. Yeah, that'd be really useful. Really useful. I guess we're kind of coming up on time. Is there is there more we need to? Well, there's obviously more we need to discuss on this. Do we want to try and get back on a call in a week's time, in sort of 2 weeks' time? And what are we going to go away right now and try and do as such? What's the kind of actionable points we need to try and get done like before we have our next call?
I'd love to continue this conversation, maybe in chat. I have a few more thoughts I can share with the group.
Yeah, excellent, John. Yeah, that'd be really appreciated. Yeah, and I'll try and ping you next time we have a call, because obviously a lot of this conversation is around Chia links as well. So your input is invaluable. So yeah, going away points for kind of today then. Set up the GitHub, or are we putting that on hold until we delve more into John's brain? What's the kind of thoughts there?
I think it can do no harm if we start it up.
Yep. So we'll try and get that set up. And I guess when we this is probably one for Greg really, because he understands this a lot more than I do. But proposing a chair or a co-chair to this sort of working group, Wiesblan is it Wiesblan? Wiesblan.
Well, I can say it, but I'm not sure if it's according to the rules, because it's a bit of a naughty word in that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, going on that, how do we kind of go away about sort of nominating, and do we do that on this call, or do we have to go through some sort of official kind of documentation, Greg?
Well, we do have an email set up for that. Where'd that go? Here. For co-chair voting. But this is going to make more sense when we have a lot more people involved. Ideally, we would do it this way, but it's up to the group whether or not they want to do a private or public vote at this point. I think we're pretty comfortable with the choice. The point is to make sure that everyone publicly has an opportunity who can, view this recording later and nominate themselves if they're interested. And we do want a window of time, a couple of weeks would be about right, no less than 2 weeks. So in the meantime, we call it an exploratory group until we've actually established a charter and co-chair. So we can still function and everyone can do what they're doing until then. But the idea is to make sure that we're all in good standing, which means attending these meetings and ultimately officially voting somebody in. And that would also require them to look at the documentation, their responsibilities, and that's been posted as well. And I can share that as well. So that's the proper way to do it.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Well, I'm proposing VB for this group. So however we need to do that, we'll do that. But yeah, like you say, there needs to be a paper trail type thing, doesn't there? So we don't get accused of biased or anything like that. So yeah, good stuff.
And Tim, like the third agenda, like on the creating project, can anyone give me access and what needs to be created? I'll create the project structure in the XH Foundation, and if they can share there is any other items like a Trello board which is exist, I can model it and create the Kanban board in the foundation. You can put that on me. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely help you with that. If you jump into the Discord and we can figure out the logistics there.
Yeah, sure.
So in terms of the next meeting, do we want to do this weekly or bi-weekly?
I think at this stage probably weekly makes sense until we actually get going properly. That's just my opinion. Obviously, I don't, it depends on people's time. What
me,
was
yeah,
Yeah,
everyone
and
saying?
how much we can
Cool.
get done between meetings.
Yeah,
I think that's a good starting point, and we can always ramp down a little bit once things are moving.
yeah. So maybe we go for next week again. There's also a call booked in for tomorrow for a community kind of marketing work group to kick that off as well. If anyone's interested in attending that one, similar sort of format. But yeah, I'll need to do a bit of I guess outside emailing to try and get people involved with that one, because a lot of people are interested in that on Twitter, but not necessarily in Discord. So I'm going to try and get those in tomorrow, similar sort of time.
Okay, anything else we
Okay.
want to add to the agenda for next week before we call it?
No, I think that's good.
Okay, great. All right,
Excellent.
well, let's call it a meeting. Anyone else have any final words before I stop the recording?
No, I think we'll just continue the conversation in Discord. I think see Slur's Time Lord has dropped a load of information, so we'll go from there.
Okay. All right, thanks, guys. Have a
Thank
great day.
you.
Bye.
Thanks,
You have a
guys.
good day.